So I found this at Ross for 30 bucks. I had it in my cart in Big Bag Toy Store because it was on sale for $75. But I had this when I was a kid, man. I know this has been already done. This is not going to be a review. I'm not going to make you watch me do the whole unboxing. What I'm going to do is probably time lapse it, put it together, and see if it brings the same kind of joy it brought me when I was a kid when I opened up the original Stinger with the 3 3/4 stuff. So probably not, but you know what, man? It's cool anyway, so let's check it out. The package is way better than I thought it was. I didn't really watch an unboxing on this, but I can't believe they actually packaged it up pretty well. But anyway, okay, let's get her out, get all the pieces out, and see what we got. So here's all the stuff out on the table. These things are stupid. I know some people didn't like them. I don't like them. I guess most people didn't. But why is the end like that? Doesn't make any sense. I know these go into the back of the rocket. You know what I mean? They go into the, you guys know that, but why is it? And it shows it on the box like that too. I don't know what that's for. I don't really care. I'm just here for the Jeep. All right, so I'm not going to review this by no means because I know I want it. I want it for nostalgia reasons, and it being bigger is really cool. But when I was little, man, I was collecting Star Wars. That's all I wanted to do, you know? Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. Then after I got through kind of Star Wars phase when I was a kid, I went in and I decided to hit, the G.I. Joe 3 3/4 because that's the only thing that was available. Obviously, that was the next biggest thing. And I had to choose between G.I. Joe and He-Man because I didn't have the money or the means to support my collection habit that I had, as a young boy, like every boy does. Usually they collect, toys. And as a grown man, I guess in my basement, I do the same thing now. And I didn't think I'd ever go this deep in toys in my life, but here I am. So I had this in my cart. I know I said this 1,000 times probably. I had this in my cart at Big Bad Toy Store for about maybe a week and a half because it came from $100 to $75. And I said, I didn't know if I wanted to spend, I don't know how this goes on. I didn't know if I wanted to spend, it goes like this, doesn't it? I didn't know if I wanted to spend the whole $100, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know how this goes on. I'm just looking. Where's it going to go with it? I may just leave it off. I don't know if I want that even on there. But I don't know. And I was like, I seen like 2 or 3 videos on YouTube that people are finding these things at Ross for $30. So I do know here in Indianapolis, I'm kind of like in the center of it. I'm really close to downtown. I'm not in the city by no means, but I'm close to downtown. I'm about maybe 30-minute drive from downtown on the Beltway. Definitely out in the county here. In Indianapolis, right next to Greenwood. So in about 2 weeks, every time for 2 weeks, it's really weird. And it worked out because I even told my daughter the same thing. She collects Monster High dolls. If you see somebody do a YouTube video and 2 weeks goes by, then start checking your Ollie's, Ross, or even Targets and your Target and stuff like that. So that's what I've been doing. And when I was heavily into DC Multiverse, I was doing the same thing, and it seemed to work out. It was really weird how that worked out. It was so odd, After about my 2-week window, after 2 weeks, I should start looking heavily if I'm trying to find something. So I figured it was like, I'm not going to find this at Ross. There's no way, because every time I seen things at Ross that were there, they were never at my Ross. Indianapolis is not really the best place if you want to have big box stores carry your stuff that's supposed to be coming out on the shelf. And if it is, they don't get hardly anything. So I don't know. It's just really weird how I came across. This is my only one-time gem I think it's ever going to happen to me, but it did happen. I didn't think it was ever going to happen, meaning because everybody else, seems to get stuff in their area, but I don't get none at all. So this time is the first time, and I'm sure the very last time I'm ever going to find anything like this out of Ross, especially at this caliber. So anyway, now that it's out, it's really cool. I love it, man. I really like it. I know it sounds dumb. Grown man down here in my basement sitting here looking at a toy, but for $30, I tell you, man, I was going to pay the 75. I was going to pay it. I was getting ready to pay it. I said, let me go to Ross one time and see if it's there. And I swear, I walked in, and on the top shelf was empty, and there this stood by itself, just one on the top shelf. So after I picked this up, the driver's cool. I prefer the original Footman. I like the dark blue. I mean, this is crazy cool. I like the gray. I love the gray and the red and the black. I'm glad they didn't make this tan. But here's the driver. He came with a knife. Put it inside of his thing. I'm going to leave him in there. I'm probably going to have somebody else drive this, maybe like a turtle or something, but I'm not going to go too deep into the rabbit hole of, G.I. Joe, because when I was little, I had the Command Center, I had the Dragonfly, I had the Stinger, and that was it. In the tank. If you guys are familiar with G.I. Joe, that's all I had. And I must have had 85% of all the 3 3/4 original Joes. And it's one of those life things where I took all my Star Wars stuff with me when I moved. And then I left my Joes in a giant plastic bag and put it in my parents' attic. And then, needless to say, that was all she wrote. I never seen them again. House was stolen, parents split up, you know how that goes. And I was in another state, blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, well, who cares? But anyway, the driver comes with some nice guns. I'm not going to pull them all out and all this stuff because it's been reviewed 1,000 times. I know I'm coming real late here with picking this up, but I have a plan where it's just going to be a backdrop kind of thing. And I want to do some sort of scenario where you have, I plan on having Marvel versus G.I. Joe and building a backdrop for that reason, for that scenario. And of course, Cobra is my favorite. I'm not too much into the good guys. I never was when I was little. And usually, who likes the good guys? I know there's people that do, but being a kid and being a grown-ass man, you always like the bad guys. You know what I mean? They never win, but they're going to win in this scenario when I make my scenario. So my theme's not going to be Joe's versus Cobra. My theme is going to be Marvel versus Cobra. So I picked up a little bit of a giant haul here with some G.I. Joe. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole and buy everything. I'm only going to buy what I want. But I'm going to have, I miss collecting because when the DC Multiverse Todd McFarlane toys kind of went tanked. You know how that went. I got out of it, got a 3D printer. I'm still going to, pursue that for the bigger stuff. But as a fun hobby, and maybe set up some scenes and build some backgrounds and stuff with lights and whatever, that's the plan. So that's about it, man. This Stinger is really awesome. I love it. I'm glad I got it. And especially somehow the toy guides were upon me for some reason for me to get this for $30. And if I find another one, I had an idea to customize this, but I'm going to leave this alone stock because it reminds me of the one I had when I was a kid. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you on the next one.
I double dare you, motherfucker. Say what one more time. Say what again. Say what again.
What?